Good morning, YouTube. While news of GM eliminating many of their sedans is still echoing around the world, Japanese automakers like Nissan have continued to invest heavily in their sedans. Now for this review, we've actually got the SR trim, which is probably the best value of the bunch since it combines a lot of elements from the top-end Platinum, but puts it at an affordable price starting at $25,000. Of course, we want to specially thank our friends at Gates Nissan in Richmond, Kentucky for providing us with this Altima. And if you're in the market for any new Nissan, be sure to pay their dealership a visit or check out their website, which we provided a link to in the video description. So with less rivals around than ever before, but better Japanese rivals than ever before, let's go ahead and see if the Altima has what it takes. As always, starting out with the exterior, the big focus of this redesign was injecting style to stand out from the rivals. That meant that the grille needed to be bigger, so Nissan doubled down on their signature V-motion grille and took it all the way from the top down to the bottom. This makes the grille about the same size as Camry and Accord, though it seems smaller with the SR's darkened chrome versus the full metallic on the rest of the trims. As you can tell, the headlights also receive a big upgrade this year, going to full LEDs on all but the base trim. They have a really sleek look, since both the low and high beams are LED, unlike the rivals, and you have 3 V-shaped LED accent lights. The turn signal is separated below, and you won't find fog lights on the SR since they're reserved for the SV and up. After the front, the Altima starts to bear a strong family resemblance to the Maxima, which it is interestingly now bigger than at 193 inches long. But beyond size, they also share the same lower chrome window trim and the partially blacked out pillar that's supposed to make the roof look like it's floating. And then around back, you continue to see the same family resemblance, with a sculpted rear deck lid spoiler and boomerang shaped taillights that are surprisingly not LED on any trim. However, Nissan did include dual exhaust outlets on all trims, with nice chrome finishers and a rear diffuser on all but the base S. Overall, Nissan has done a really great job with this exterior, by making things bolder and more stylish, but without crossing that line to where it starts to be too much. But one of the biggest draws of the SR trim is that you get these really nice 19-inch contrast alloy wheels, which are shared with the Platinum. This gives you the fully loaded look, even though the SR is only the second rung up the ladder. Otherwise, all your other trims are going to have smaller wheels, with the SV and SL getting 17-inch alloys, and the S a 16-inch steel wheel with a hubcap. Coming up to your mirrors, the SR also gets the unique touch of black mirrors as opposed to body color on the rest of the trims. They are not heated on this particular model, but it is available as an option through the premium package. However, one thing that's already included on SR is blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert, with sensors on the inside of the vehicle instead of on the mirror. And of course, as you'd expect, this vehicle does also have all the latest and greatest Nissan safety systems on board. All the trims will come standard with automatic emergency braking, and on SV and up, pedestrian detection and rear auto braking are added to that. Additionally, SV and up also come with Nissan semi-autonomous Pro Pilot Assist, which works with the steering assist and full-speed adaptive cruise control. These are some of the most advanced safety features available in the class. Finally, wrapping up the outside, the Altima has fuel tanks of either 16.2 gallons with front-wheel drive, or 16 gallons with all-wheel drive. Now, I won't go through every possible combination, but the fuel range of this 2.5-liter SR all-wheel drive is 480 miles. And with the VC turbo, the SR would get 470 miles of range. The base engine does use regular unleaded fuel, but the turbo recommends premium. Well anyways, that's it for the all-new exterior. So now let's get inside and see how it stacks up against the excellent competition. So right off the bat, Nissan includes a really nice standard feature, and that's intelligent entry and remote start standard across all of the trims, even the very base model. Now to get inside the vehicle, there is not a sensor on the door handle, so you've got to press this button. So first, looking inside the cabin of the all-new 2019 Altima, you can immediately tell that things have gotten a lot more upscale and a lot more modern. Now as far as the actual color schemes and materials, you've got 3 choices across all the trims. You've got a charcoal, a gray, and a tan color scheme. And then for your S and SV trim, you have cloth seating, leather seating on the SL and Platinum, and then here on the SR, you've got a combination of the two. You have cloth seating in the middle, as well as a leatherette trim on the outside edges. Now turning to your door trim, it is impressively upscale for a lower end model. So you've got leather all through the armrest as well as above it, with a really nice contrasting orange stitching on the SR. Now the upper part is also padded. And then for your windows, it is one-touch automatic for the driver only, and you would also find memory seating on the Platinum only. Heading down here to your seat, Nissan was nice enough to include an 8-way power seat on all models, even the base trim. But you will have to go up to at least the SV to get 2-way lumbar support. And then, like I said, this is a combination of leatherette and cloth, but it has a really attractive design with the orange stitching in the middle as well as along all the edges, and it looks really nice. So like I just said, things in here look a lot more modern than they used to, as well as really upscale, especially for a base trim. Now surprisingly, you have got a leatherette trim across the top here with some more stitching, and then a soft touch plastic that covers all of the upper dash areas. Moving down lower, you've got a leather stitched area here for your knee to rest against, which is something that most rivals only include on the very top end trims. And then as far as the rest of the materials, everything fits together really, really well. Now Nissan has moved the push button start down here this year, and it is standard across all of the trims. When you press it, you will see a new 8-inch display fire up across all trims. And then one of the other really nice things that Nissan has included across all trims is this large 7-inch multifunction display. Now a lot of the rivals come with smaller displays, and this one's particularly nice since you've got a lot of different functions you can scroll between, like your audio, as well as all of your safety systems that are standard. And then coming back to the steering wheel, all models come with a really cool flat bottom design, and you will have leather wrapping on all but the base model, as well as heating on the SV and up. You also got some piano black trim around the standard buttons. These are for your gauges, of course. And then over here you've got your controls for your cruise control, as well as phone and voice. Additionally, on the SR, we do have paddle shifters to shift between some simulated gear changes. And the steering wheel itself is manually tilt and telescoping. Now moving on to the important area of storage, the Altima definitely has plenty. Starting out over here at your center console, as you can see, you've got 2 tiers. This one is removable, and then you do have a deep area with some nice felt lining here in the bottom. We'll also say this armrest is very nice, leather wrapped, again with the really nice looking stitching, even here on a lower end trim. Up in the front, you've got another big area, great for a phone, as well as a traditional USB port, a USB Type-C port, aux jack, and 12-volt outlet. Now, thankfully, Nissan has stuck with a traditional shifter, so it's very easy to use. Just pull back for drive. You also have a low, and again, you can shift with these paddle shifters as well. Of course, when you go into reverse, you will find a backup camera, but Nissan has nicely included active trajectory as well, even on the base models. Additionally, on the Platinum, you will find their around view monitor system as standard equipment. And then back behind the shifter, every all-wheel drive model will come with an electronic parking brake, or if you go with the front-wheel drive models, it will be the SL and Platinum. Now, moving on up to your climate controls, you will notice that these are manual climate controls. However, they would be dual zone automatic on the SV and up. Of course, this is very simple to use, and it has really nice feeling switchgear here. You've got all your zone buttons here, as well as your defrost and whatnot. You will notice we are missing heated seats on this model. It is optional through the premium package, or heated seats are standard on every model with the 2-liter engine. And by the way, ventilated seats are not available on any trim, unlike the Accord. Anyways, let's go ahead and sample this model's standard 6-speaker sound system. Sound quality of this system is actually not half bad, and I definitely prefer this to the bass setup in the Camry and also the Accord. There is a 9-speaker premium Bose sound system available on the SL and Platinum. But anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the new NissanConnect system. So of course, like I've already mentioned, Nissan does include this 8-inch touchscreen standard on all models. And you do nicely have a volume and tune knob, as well as shortcut buttons lined across the bottom here. Here in the middle, you've got your home button. This takes you to your home screen where you can lay out all different types of apps, as well as these little widgets, kind of like an Android phone. So you can stick these little things out so you can quickly skip songs or whatever. Clicking on the widget expands it to the full menu. And in here in the Bluetooth audio, we can play and pause the music, as well as switch to all of our other sources. Back on the home page, you will notice you have a phone button. And when you go into it, you've got your phone book, which is all of your contacts, which automatically sync over from your smartphone. Additionally, it does support text messages, so you can go into these.
Message from Michael, haha sweet.
And they'll read it aloud to you as well. Now in this particular model, we do not have integrated navigation. That's only included on the SL and the Platinum. However, Nissan does include standard Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, so that of course does allow you to still have access to things like Google Maps or Apple Maps. But anyways, that's pretty much the main features I'm going to talk about right now. However, we do have a really detailed NissanConnect tech help video if you want to learn more about the system. A link to that video is provided in the description. Moving on up, most models do come with a manual dimming mirror. However, you will have an auto dimming one on the Platinum. You will also notice that our model lacks a moonroof. However, it is available through the SR Premium package. Otherwise, a moonroof is standard on the SV and up, and standard on all 2-liter models. But overall, I have to say I'm really impressed by the cabin of the all-new Altima. This is only an SR, which is the second to base trim, yet it has a lot of luxury features and really nice materials and really nice design. Overall, it just feels like you're getting a lot more than you're paying for. But now I'll go ahead and hand it off to Mason, who will show off the rest of the vehicle.
Alright, so in the back of the all-new Altima, you're going to find a little bit of a space reduction from last year's model. The technical measurement comes in at 35.2 inches of legroom and 36.9 inches of headroom, and that does make it a little bit smaller than most of the rivals. Now coming over to the door trim, you do have a really nice one. It is leather where your armor rests, as well as above it, which is really nice for a base trim like this, and you do have a power window. Down below that, you do have some bottle storage. Let's go ahead and get it. So since this Altima is on the more basic side of things, we're not going to find any vents on this SR 2.5. However, if you opt for the VC engine on any of the models, you will get vents, and on the SV trims and up, you will also find vents on the 2.5 models. Now down below that, all models will have these two USB ports. You have a regular USB style port, as well as a USB Type-C, which is a really nice touch. Now here in the center, we do have an armrest. It is really good size, it's leather wrapped, and it does have cup holders in the end. Now up here in the top, you will find some lighting, as well as a really premium feeling headliner, and an assist grip. Now I know I mentioned that the Altima is a little bit smaller than some of the rivals. However, sitting back here, I definitely can't tell it. So behind Drew's 5'8" seating position, and I'm 5'9" for reference, I still have plenty of leg room. I probably have about a foot, and my feet are very happy up under the seat. I have plenty of room. And sliding over, even with the seat all the way back, I still have several inches of space, so I don't really think that anyone's going to find this rear seat uncomfortable. So overall, I'm actually really impressed with the Altima's rear seat. Even on a base model like this, you do have USB ports, and you will have vents on the higher end models, and really it's just a really comfortable and spacious rear seat. Alright, so heading around to the trunk, since we do have smart entry, just grab the button under the handle to open it. Now once inside, you're going to find 15.4 cubic feet of space, which does place it above the Camry, but behind the Honda Accord. Now it does look like plenty of space, and it is worth noting that the seats do fold 60-40 split, and you do have these hinges, as well as a grab handle for folding it, or shutting it. Passenger seat is that same design with some orange stitching, and on this model it is manually adjusting. However, on the SL and Platinum it would be power. So in front of the passenger, I'm really impressed by the materials. You have a stitched plastic dashboard, as well as down below it you do have a nice sized glove box. It is also dampened. And above that we do have a sun visor with a light and mirror, and you can also detach and extend. Well guys, that pretty much sums up all I'm going to cover on this rainy day, so now let's go ahead and talk about the powertrain and do a quick test drive.
Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the powertrains. Now for the all-new Altima, we've got two new engine options. We've got a brand new 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, replace the old 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, and it makes 188 horsepower and 180 pound-feet of torque. That engine is standard on all of the trims. However, there is a new optional engine. The V6 is dead, and we now have the VC Turbo, variable compression turbo 4-cylinder, that was initially introduced in the Infiniti QX50. Now that engine is a pretty unique engine. It varies the compression ratio from 8:1 to 14:1 to make it whatever is ideal for the way you're driving. So more fuel economy minded and more efficient versus more power delivery. The actual output numbers are 248 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. And that engine is optional on this SR as well as the Platinum. Now, no matter what engine you choose, you're going to have a CVT, a continuously variable transmission. But unlike the rivals, you now have an optional all-wheel drive system if you go for the 2.5 liter engine. And that is available on all of the trim levels, even the base S. And finally, for your fuel economy, it is class competitive. So most models with the 2.5 liter engine get 28 city, 39 highway, 32 combined. However, here on this SR, as well as the Platinum with larger wheels, it goes down to 31 combined. If you choose all-wheel drive, you're going to drop another mile per gallon to 30 combined. And then if you choose to go up to your variable compression turbo, then that's going to be 29 combined. But anyways, now let's go ahead and take it on a quick spin. Alright, so setting off in the 2019 Nissan Altima. Getting up to speed initially seemed to be pretty powerful. It doesn't feel... This, of course, is the base motor that we've got, but it still feels plenty powerful. The things I'm also noticing setting off immediately is how much more the steering weights up. At parking lot speeds, it is extremely, extremely light. And I was expecting that it would be really, really light once we got up to speed as well, but definitely not. It tightens up a lot. It doesn't have a great deal of feel, but it definitely feels a lot tighter once you're up and going. One of the other noteworthy things I want to mention is the shifting simulation. Unlike a lot of Nissan CVTs in the past, you don't have to be like under really heavy throttle applications to get the simulated gear shifts. Even under light acceleration, it does go ahead and simulate your gear changes, so it feels a lot more like a traditional automatic than past Nissans, as well as even like the Honda Accord did not simulate the gear changes as much as this does. So this, you actually even have like a little bit of a sensation of a gear change. So that's a really nice touch that I appreciate.
Yeah, like Drew said, when we first did that acceleration, I feel like if I didn't really know anything about cars and I didn't know about Nissan CVT, I don't think I would have noticed that it's any different than any other car. And that's really impressive to basically trick someone into thinking that it's a traditional transmission when it's obviously not.
As far as the ride and handling, the chassis feels pretty tight. Definitely goes around corners really nicely. Compared to the Accord, it might be a little softer sprung than that. But like I said, it definitely goes around corners nicely. Like I said, the steering weight's up good, and it definitely handles the bumps in the road very comfortably. You hardly feel any type of impacts into the cabin whatsoever. Now, of course, the biggest defining characteristic of this all-new Altima is that it's got an all-wheel drive system that both Accord or Camry do not have. And, you know, that's particularly useful, not just on snowy days, but even on a day like this. There's a lot of standing water on the road, and I drive a Camry, and I know when there's a lot of standing water, even for a low-powered midsize sedan, you can still spin the wheels in standing water and, of course, snow and other inclement weather. So having an all-wheel drive system is just that extra level of assurance that people, particularly in the northern states, are going to appreciate. This car does have paddle shifters as well, so you can manually control the simulated gears if you want. You don't have to put it in any type of sport mode or anything, just whenever you want to engage it, you can go ahead and click. There's 6 simulated gears it's displaying, and you can just go down to whatever you want to use. And like I said, there actually is like a little kick. It really does feel like a traditional automatic. This is one of the best simulations I've ever felt in a CVT. But overall, I'm really impressed by how the new Altima drives. It is a lot sportier than the old model, but you know, it doesn't sacrifice comfort or anything. It's still very easy to drive, very comfortable ride, but it just has a little bit more of an agile feel. And it definitely puts it in line with the new Accord and Camry, which also have that more sporty feel than ever before.
Well guys, we hope you enjoyed watching this in-depth look at the 2019 Nissan Altima SR. Stay watching for a quick look at the pricing, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons below. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.
Mm-hmm.